There comes a moment in every life when noise stops meaning anything. The endless chatter, the constant proving, the need to respond, to react, to justify, all of it begins to dissolve like fog under the rising sun. And in that quiet, something terrifying happens. You begin to hear yourself. Not the voice society gave you, not the echo of others' opinions, but the raw vibration of your own consciousness, unfiltered, unbent, unbroken. Silence is dangerous, not because it hides weakness, but because it reveals power. The world fears a man or woman who no longer needs to speak to be understood. Words are tools of control. They keep the mind busy, they keep emotions contained. But when you fall into true silence, when you learn to observe instead of react, you step outside the game. You stop being predictable. You stop being controlled. Most people think silence is passive. They mistake quiet for surrender. But silence, when born from awareness, is the most assertive energy in existence. It doesn't beg. It doesn't argue. It doesn't demand validation. It simply is. And that presence, that calm, unwavering energy, unsettles those who live off chaos, because your silence reflects their noise back at them. Your peace exposes their restlessness. Your calmness becomes their mirror, and most people cannot bear to see what they've become. Psychologically, silence is a rebellion. In a world addicted to reaction, you are withdrawing your energy from the collective madness. You are saying, I will not participate in this unconscious game. And that's what makes you dangerous, because the world cannot manipulate what it cannot engage. Every society, every system, every manipulator thrives on attention. The moment you go silent, you deprive them of their oxygen. The narcissist collapses without your response. The gossip dies when you refuse to feed it. The chaos ends when you stop dancing to its rhythm. Silence isn't the absence of noise, it's the death of control. But reaching that level of silence is not easy, because it requires inner strength, the kind that comes from understanding yourself deeply. It demands that you face the storm within, the fear, the anxiety, the need for validation. You must learn to sit with your emotions without rushing to express them. You must learn to feel without performing. Look at history's most influential figures, the sages, the philosophers, the revolutionaries. Their power did not come from loudness. It came from presence, from silence, from that invisible gravity that pulls attention without asking for it. In the same way, when you become silent, you begin to see everything clearly. You notice people's masks, their insecurities, their motives. Because silence sharpens perception, it heightens awareness. The quieter you become, the more you hear, not just with your ears, but with your entire being. And what you hear is often uncomfortable. You begin to sense the falseness in conversations, the fear behind people's laughter, the pain behind their pride. That's why silence is feared. Because when you are silent, you become unpredictable. They cannot read you, they cannot control you, they cannot manipulate your emotions. Your mystery disturbs their certainty. Your calmness becomes their chaos. You no longer dance to the music they play, and that makes you powerful. But silence doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. True silence is inner stillness, an unshakable center that moves through the world but is not moved by it. It's the calm in the storm, the eye of awareness, watching everything yet clinging to nothing. You can speak, but your words now carry weight. You can act, but your actions now come from clarity, not compulsion. This silence cannot be faked. It comes only when you look deep into yourself and face every shadow. When you sat alone long enough to realize that peace is not found in avoiding noise, but in mastering it. And when you do, when you no longer seek to prove, to defend, to explain, you become something rare. You become a force. Silence begins where the ego ends. The moment you stop needing to defend your image, silence finds you. The mind, restless and hungry, thrives on reaction. It wants to argue, to correct, to prove, but silence is the language of those who no longer need to win. When you enter that space, you start to communicate on a different frequency, one that is felt, not heard. You start to notice that most conversations are not exchanges of truth, but battles for validation. People rarely listen to understand. They listen to respond. And when you stop playing that game, you step into a higher dimension of communication. Your silence becomes louder than words. It begins to shape the atmosphere around you. In psychology, this is called emotional withdrawal, not as escape, but as power. You reclaim your energy from the noise. You no longer leak your awareness into every argument or distraction. You learn to contain your life force, and containment becomes magnetism. The quieter you become, the more others feel your presence.